Caleb says, "Hi, Austin and Robert. I've got a question for your Q&A episode. I'm 21 years old. I have no degree, and I spent the past few years working in a blue-collar field for minimum wage, which I ended up disliking very much. Now I'm a server at a restaurant doing much better for myself. My dream career would to be working as a fiduciary financial advisor in the best interest of all my clients. If I wanted to start in this career, would you recommend me getting a degree in finance first, or just getting the minimum licenses required to start acting as an advisor and growing my book of business, working independently or for a firm? Also, I'm wondering if just being a financial advisor is a good career move in general, specifically if you guys think it's going to be around for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. What advice do you have here for our friend Caleb?"
I think this is a great question. And do I think the financial field is a great field for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Always. Absolutely 100%. Because as this field may pivot a little bit because of AI, because we get better and better software every single year, it doesn't matter because you're using this education in this field and the work in this field to help yourself. And it's just one of those things where knowing more about money, finance, and how money systems work is going to help you long-term more than if you're doing something non-related to money, but still trying to build wealth, because it really comes down to the education and the at-bats. I always talk about the at-bats because for me, I can learn something really, really well, and then 2 years go by and I don't implement it or I don't use the strategy, and then you forget and you kind of got to relearn it over time. So I like the idea, and the thing I would do ahead of this would be to start building your personal brand around becoming in the financial field so people know you as a smart person, someone that's in the financial field. You're building your way up because then you can start to get that know, like, and trust factor going with your audience, even if it's a smaller audience. So when it comes time to build your book, you're not all of a sudden coming out of nowhere where 2 weeks ago you were mowing lawns and this week you're a financial advisor. You're building up the anticipation of you getting into that field.
Yeah, so tactically speaking, how would you do this? The first thing I think you would do is to further understand the role, right? There are people who are financial advisors, and then there are people who are like certified financial planners. That's like the gold standard. I'm pretty sure you need 6,000 hours worth of like working as a financial advisor before you can sit for that exam. So for you, it's like, okay, what do I want to be? I want to be a financial advisor. How am I going to do that? First step, in my opinion, is to find a mentor. Find someone who is in this space. Allow yourself to be surrounded with people that are doing this for a living. Maybe you've got Uncle Bob or Aunt Becky that has a financial advisor themselves, and they're willing to make an introduction for you. And maybe the financial advisor is kind enough to want to sit down and talk with you and tell you more about, the people that work at their firm, what their day-to-day looks like, and how they've been able to build such a wonderful book of business. The next thing I'd want to do is find a job in the field. It doesn't have to be like working at a firm, like a financial advisor firm, but maybe you could be a client service associate at a firm. Maybe you could be a financial assistant somewhere else, but think like paperwork, scheduling, calendaring. Like you're not actually doing any financial advising. You're just surrounding yourself with people who are, and you're likely making 12, 15, 18 bucks an hour doing this, right? It's not sexy work. You're making scheduling, right? You're doing calendar stuff. You're doing paperwork. It's not sexy, but you're in the trenches learning around with these people. The next thing you have to do is take the SIE. The SIE is the exam that's like the entry level exam to just get started when it comes to your Series 7, your Series 66, your Series 63, things like that. Go take that exam. If you still like it, then go find someone who can sponsor you for the Series 7. So essentially what that means is like you can't sit for one of these exams unless an actual financial advisor firm has like said, oh yeah, he's cool or she's cool, go let them sit for the exam. Like they have to like vouch for you essentially. So to do that, you have to be working at a firm at that point. So once you get your SIE figured out, which you don't have to be working anywhere for, you could take that and say, hey, I've been doing this calendar stuff for a while. I've been doing the paperwork stuff for a while here. I sat for my SIE. I passed the exam. I'd love to get sponsored by you for the Series 7 or 66 or 63 or whatever it might be. Those exams will cost costs like $500, maybe up to $1,000, depending on which ones you take. You can use Kaplan or STC to study for them. Once you pass those exams, I also would recommend you to pass a life insurance licensing exam as well. That'll be a few weeks of studying, $200, $300 maybe, but it will allow you to also sell life insurance, which 9 times out of 10 gets like bucketed into this like financial planning world. Term life insurance is what we encourage you to do. Do not be one of the scummy people to sell indexed universal life insurance, please. And then finally, maybe once you're, licensed and you're this person, you can start working at, one of these firms. Maybe it's Ameriprise. Maybe it is an Edward Jones. Maybe it's anywhere else, right? Like you're working, you're building in a book of business, you're learning along the best, and you are now making money as a financial advisor and growing in your career.
And just understand, Caleb, it takes time. You're building a career in finance. It takes years to get the book built, get that proximity to power, get people to know, like, and trust you. But I love the field. Obviously, Austin and I enjoy this every single day, and we just love this question. And thank you so much for submitting it.